Hey, YouTubers, what is good? It's Uncle Lo. Today is our version of Why Do You Love Motorcycles? And I wanted to share, obviously, my personal story, but as I share my story, the most important thing is that it resonates with you and you think about why you like motorcycles, or what were some things that really got you to become a motorcycle enthusiast. Or maybe you're not an enthusiast yet, you've been so interested in motorcycles, and you're not sure how to get into it. But for me, I've really loved two wheels for such a long time. Obviously, just as a kid, it ultimately gives you freedom, and with that freedom comes a lot of responsibility, right? And as you progress, maybe like 5 or 6 years old, you learn to pedal first. You might, well, I didn't have a Strider bike. We had more like those trike bikes before, so you couldn't do too many crazy things except maybe go on two wheels and do that. But there really wasn't much more. It was really until you evolved into the next iteration of the bike, without the training wheels, obviously, but you had the rear brake, right? No real finger brakes, nothing to kind of use levers yet. You just had kind of the rear foot brake to push it, but you can learn how to slide and push it around. And for me, I thought that was a blast. The next part here, actually super great too, is when you start getting levers, right? You have controls of the different front brake to the rear brake, and obviously most of our braking comes in the front braking, because that's where all our weight and all that kind of braking power comes from the front. But we all know the rear brake's super important when you want to have a little bit of fun too, and just for safety, right? Especially not when you have two wheels on the ground, is when you have one wheel on the ground, right? The rear brake becomes that much more important. But let's not delay any further. What are some of Uncle Lo's favorite memories on motorcycles, and what motorcycles have I owned, right? I'll tell you what got me into motorcycles was my buddy Dino was already a motorcycle lover. He basically got his first bike, which was a ZX7R, and what a beautiful bike. I know he saved up a lot there to kind of get that bike, and it was his first mode of real fast transportation. And one day he kind of gave me a shout and goes, "Lo, you got to check out my motorcycle." And I was a little hesitant, but super excited. And I was like, "Well, how? Should I just like drive up to your house here? Like, what are we gonna do?" And he's like, "No, man, I'm gonna come over to your house. I got an extra helmet here. I'll put in a backpack. And if you can carry the backpack, let's go for a ride." And sure enough, the first kind of ride that we went on, he mistakenly, he didn't even do it on purpose, pulled a wheelie, because we had so much weight on the bike there, and he had enough power and torque that it lifted up that front end pretty high, right? Especially if you've never done a kind of a wheelie. I've done it on on mountain bikes, and anything on two wheels I've probably tried, even BMXs and everything. Obviously you do a lot of kind of manual wheelies, but never on a motorcycle. And as soon as he stopped, he apologized. He was like, "I'm so sorry, that was so irresponsible, I didn't mean to do that." And I said, "Shut the hell up. Where do I get myself one of these, and how do I get my license immediately?" And what was hilarious is I got my license within that year, and which was 1990, gosh, 5, or was it 1996? I believe it was 1995, and then I took my road test in 1996. So you can see, like, the amount of years that I've been on a motorcycle. It's been pretty extensive, and I've loved it, and it's never slowed down. Just a little bit of bump on the road, obviously, when you're growing a family. I took time a little bit away, but not too much. That I still have a very solid, like 25 years experience on a motorcycle. But my first motorcycle was actually a Kawasaki F7. It was a 175 stroke, two-stroke engine, reed valve. It had a actually decent amount of horsepower. I believe it was 27 horsepower, and I had to check the microfiche in the old days to kind of get that number. And the torque value was actually pretty high at 18. The bike was only 200, I think 10 pounds or so. So it was super, super light. But, you know, it was kind of those trail bikes. So it wasn't really like a full-on dirt bike, although it had a pretty decent front travel suspension. The rear suspension was a little bit tighter, but it didn't have as much kind of wheel, the long shock ride, right? Like a dirt bike would. But it can pretty capable, and I actually taught about 4 people to get into motorcycles just by using that bike. The funny thing is that I'll show a picture. I still have this bike. I've kept it forever. I got this bike when I was first, 16 or 17 years old. So I couldn't insure it on the road, but I rode it all the time. Let's just put it that way. Super loud, super raspy, really hard to get proper tuning. It's literally like an on and off switch. It would go from there to like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, and then boom, all of a sudden be like a rocket, and then it would slow down and boggle a little again. But I remembered that bike, pretty endearing. When I first got my license, my first bike was a Gixxer 600, 1997 model. I love that bike. It actually got me into tuning. As you guys know, I love tuning cars, and I'm a bit of an enthusiast, but a lot of people don't know it all started with motorcycles. My first Gixxer, I had actually customized it on my own. I'd stripped down the bike. I had actually, not chrome, but I had polished it. I had aircraft stripped all the polish or any of the paint on the bike, and then I actually polished all the areas that I could polish. It was actually beautiful. Probably one of the most beautiful track ridden bikes out there for that time for a Gixxer. And yeah, I had a blue paint job that I actually was able to do myself. I learned a little bit of the craft through my friend's shop, and he allowed me to actually spray in the booth on my own. So I took these fairings. They weren't perfect, but they were perfect to me, and it was great. And yeah, I got that tuned because it was carbureted, and it was dyno tuned at 98 horsepower to the wheels, which was pretty great because I think at that time it was 92 horsepower. So I picked up a good 7 horsepower, but a lot of it was on the top end, of course. It was a track ridden bike, and you know, I had changed gearing on it too. Changed out to a full exhaust, and obviously dyno tuned. So again, I love that bike. Super fun. I found it a little bit heavy for the amount of power that it had. It was basically the same architecture as the 750, except with the dual braced swing arm. But you know, the 750 had a boatload more horsepower, like, and the amount of torque accordingly too. So that bike I ended up selling, not because I didn't like it anymore, is I wanted to try something different. But in that time, a little bit of responsibility. I had left the motorcycle game, so I just kind of rode some bikes here and there. But when I came back to it, I don't know why. I think when you get a bit older and you haven't done a motorcycle, and you really appreciate kind of the need for attention when you ride a motorcycle. And as you get older, you always wonder, am I losing my attention span, right? Am I still patient enough? Of course, I'm always safe, because you always think a bit of that morality. And, like, you just want to live, right? It's kind of a survival instinct when you ride on a motorcycle, that you're extra vigilant around. So that one part's okay. But when I came back, I took it extra safe, and I bought one of the smallest bikes that you could. And the reason why I wanted it, it was like a little pit bike. It was so cute looking and looked so much fun that I needed to have it. So I bought myself a Honda Grom, a 2014 Honda Grom, and that I customized everything. I changed the exhaust. I have ECU tune on it. I have gearing done on it. I have airbox mod lid. I've changed all the bars on it, all the handle controls, all the levers. Has a tank tidy. I've changed the livery on it. That bike was really fun to work on, and to ride, it's actually pretty fun just around town. It's got very little horsepower at 9 horsepower, and the torque is even like probably half of that. It's a single cylinder bike, and so they call it a thumper, just because the way it sounds is like, with my underbelly exhaust, it sounds. And so I still have the Grom. I love that thing. That thing goes. It's so much fun till about 90 kilometers for me. After that, it's just honestly just bogging, and you're just revving it super high. So will showcase that one when we ride it one day. But that one has been super fun in my stable. The next one that I got actually was a VFR 800. I really was looking for this bike because the V4 engine and the VTEC. Both, I thought that if you matched them together, that sound, that feel, and a bit of that torque, because I've always had like a kind of low torque, high revving engines. I thought that getting this VFR 800 would kind of fit the bill and kind of fill in that void of me with a bit of handling, a bit of high-end speed, and obviously just tractability and sound. And this one just fit the mold so well. This VFR 800, I will probably look for in the future a VFR 800 without VTEC. I'll honestly say I love the bike so much, but the VTEC stumbled a bit, right? Like around kind of that 5 to 5,500 RPM, there was always a bit of stumble. And I have also a tuner on it too. I had a tuner on it. I had two brothers pipes on it. I changed the saddle on it, all the controls. That was a great bike. I had luggage on it, and I think that was the big thing that why I enjoyed that bike so much, is I can put 2 of the panniers on the side there, the hard shell, and I can put extra helmets, extra gear, and then I put also a rear luggage rack too. So I really had it full out. It was a little bit heavy, and it was really wheelie prone, but that was half the fun, because it still handled really well, and I can actually bring that kind of from strip to strip on both sides, and the handling would just be really kind of solid and firm. It did miss a bit of that top-end exhilaration, that, not that I yearn for, but I kind of missed a little bit from my kind of Gixxer time frame. So I wasn't really looking for a super sport at all, because I had really figured out that I'd love something that has a bit of touring in it. So I wasn't again looking for another bike. but I ended up falling in love with a different one, and I thought that I would get this later in life, and I traded the VFR. I had that bike for approximately 2 years, and I ended up trading it for one bike that I didn't think I'd get till later in life, and that was the GL 1800 Goldwing. So I went from a 800cc kind of sport touring bike, and I went out to a full touring bike with 1800cc. And the reason why you guys can figure out now is I appreciate all different bikes. So I've had singles, right? I've had inline fours here. I've had a two-stroke reed valve. Now, this is absolutely the kind of crossover that if I had a car, it'd be equivalent to a Porsche. And the Porsches have a flat six, and we all know with a flat six, it's one of the parallel or the paradigm of smoothness. It basically has 3 cylinders on each side, so when they are actually running, they're balancing each other out all the time. So you get one of the smoothest revving engines, and that translated into the Goldwing. And I was surprised because I didn't think that the boat, it's one of the heaviest bikes out there at almost 900 pounds wet, and with gear, I'm probably close to 1,000 pounds. But wow, the balance of this bike, the torque of this bike, the sound of that flat six engine is sublime. And that's why I absolutely love my Goldwing, and I still have it today. I wish I could put more miles. That's actually a goal after hopefully a bit of travel next year, that I want to make a bit of a trek somewhere. It could be across Canada just to say hi to a few friends and family, and kind of ride through the summer and enjoy what it's like to kind of tour really long distances on a motorcycle. I've gone province to province, but I haven't gone from 2 or 3 provinces over, let's say, right? So that's something that I'm super stoked enjoying. And with this Goldwing, I do have a mod that I've added on it, which has made it super enjoyable. Is I probably have one of the first Goldwings that have a golf bag attachment. So I actually, in the summertime, ride my Goldwing to golf courses and play a full round of golf, and can change out of my gear and put my helmet, my gear, everything in the bike, and then play a full course. So I absolutely love the addition that I made to it. I've also got exhaust ready to go for this Goldwing. I just haven't installed it. They're basically, currently I have 2 Cobra pipes that I was able to source out. So I'm super excited because I think this flat six with a little bit of rumble will sound even better. Like, ooh. And that's kind of my little bit of an update of my current crop. But I've added something entirely new, 2 more bikes. You guys do know about my Hornet, my 599. So that's the CB600F. It has the CBR 600 engine, the original one in it, and it is a screamer. I absolutely love it. It sounds like a sewing machine at inline 4, so it's very light on torque down low. Like anything under 9,000 RPM, it feels like you're riding a 400cc. It's like one of my other bikes that I have right now, which is a Duke 390. And that one's a single cylinder, has a little bit more torque, so it kind of revs out to kind of 11,000 RPM, but most of it power comes at 9,000. So it almost feels like I get more power out of the 390 down low and responsiveness than my Hornet 600. But wow, after 9,000 to that kind of 13,000 RPM, that thing is a screamer. So it goes probably in that kind of 40, 50, 60 horsepower to screaming to kind of like that 100 horsepower. So interestingly, The Hornet, it's a naked bike, probably has the same amount of horsepower as my Gixxer 600 as it did before. But wow, it is a smooth engine, and it's a great sounding one, because I'm in the process right now of, if you look at some of my shorts there, I've added a MotoGP pipe, but I took that off and I've added an Akrapovic one, so it sounds actually blender smooth, and adds a good amount of character on the high end there. I've alluded to already in my last bike that I'm riding currently for just around town and anywhere I can go, because it does get up to speed. It gets fast enough around the city, but really I love it for its efficiency and its agility. I have a Duke 390. It's a 373 cc engine there. It's got no mods. It's just literally a single cylinder engine. It's got, I believe, 45 horsepower there, but it's a pretty light bike, right? We're looking kind of at the mid 300s, kind of wet, so, you know, pretty agile around town. So that one there, I've been putting the Insta360 action cam on the back there, and it really kind of showcases you know, all the sights and sounds, and if I can turn kind of quickly through the city there, it moves around through kind of traffic a little bit easier. Parking's a bit easier, so I've really enjoyed the Duke 390. It has a little bit more power, obviously, than the Grom around town, but and it's been a fun bike so far. So just wanted to kind of share some of my thoughts on why I got into motorcycles, and that evolution of why I have currently 4 in my stable, and just mentioned a little bit about what I've traded or what I've had in the past too. I'll continue to be a motorcycle enthusiast as long as I can enjoy the ride and being able to do it. But to the people who don't ride currently, or really are thinking about it, is it definitely gives you a lot of freedom. And there's a lot of responsibility, because with motorcycles, you can't have any lapse of judgment. It's not like, hey, look, I could take a little doozer because I felt a little tired, right? And you can't do that in a car, but people are more likely to do that while driving. As I'm saying, is than if you were riding, because you need constant attention. You need to know what's around you. You need to know what controls you're doing, right? Any panic situations or anything like that. So those are some of my bikes. I'll put up some of the stats for each one, and hopefully I can edit some pictures and show you guys some of the sights and sounds of what Uncle Lo likes to kind of ride and deal with on a daily basis. But that's kind of given me the passion to start a little sub channel, as you guys probably seen. I have really no subscribers there at this point. I'm just building content, so when I release it, I will have content to go. And that's going to be a little bit of a different strategy that I've been doing since my first kind of YouTube kick with Uncle Lo's Next Adventure, which I started this year. Hopefully that one there I can continue growing organically a lot of my passions and kind of commentary and things that I do like to enjoy, and especially things that, you know, keep your mental health strong and sound. But the last part is called Ride with Lo. I'm going to simply record some motorcycle rides, car rides, and anything that have wheels. I'll probably end up driving it and flying it or doing whatever I can with it. So just join me in some of those rides there. Hopefully it's soothing or enjoyable to you, or inspires you that if you don't drive or you don't ride, that you can just hop along and enjoy it just with Uncle Lo, okay? So I hope that you guys really enjoyed this installment of Uncle Lo's Next Adventure. I'd like to really extend to all of you guys and thank you guys for taking the time to already listen to the end of the video. And if you do like the content and you want to hear future content of what Uncle Lo has in store for his bikes and his cars and his passions, please like and subscribe. It does a lot for my psyche, but it does a lot to kind of build the channel And I see, even with a small amount of subscribers that I'm organically growing, how many likes and views that you can get. So I want to get into that algorithm. I want to get to the first 500 subscribers too, and I want to get to that first milestone on how I can monetize, because I do believe that I have something to contribute to YouTube land, and I hope that you guys believe that too and believe in me. Please like and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon. What's up?